We're the Hydradenitis Super Divas. If you've got HS, you'll want to meet us. It's not your fault, put the shame to a halt. HS divas know how to have a ball. The Hydradenitis Super Divas. Put the shame to a halt, cause it's not your fault.
Hi everyone, it's Brinley and Sid here with the Hydradenitis Super Divas, and we are going to talk today about advocacy. So I know for most people, and I think you've experienced this too, like in comments and just social media, people think advocacy is something different than I think we think it is, or maybe in the past I've felt the same way they did, but as I've done this, now I understand it differently. Maybe that's more of what it's like. But I think people instantly think advocacy and they think huge, ginormous nonprofit organizations and talking in front of the Senate or the House of Representatives or being in some kind of place on Capitol Hill where, you know, you're making this huge, ginormous impact. And really, that can be part of it, and that, you know, policy and payers and all of that is a part of it. But I think for so many people that have asked us, like, how to get into advocacy or how did you begin, it really just starts with your story. So, like, tell us how did your advocacy journey begin, and did you ever think you would be where you are right now?
First of all, no.
No or fuck no?
Hell to the no. To the no. Like, insert that sound, seriously. No, seriously, I had no idea that talking about my HS would unfold into what it has. But just like she said, it did just start by me telling my story. And I felt like, okay, so I started sharing my HS journey initially because I was already sharing my story per se on social media because I was a hey girly. If you know, you know. And so I was slanging my skinny coffee and I was telling my story every single day about how I was going to go from food stamps to six figures with a company and change my life. And honestly, the company changed my life in a way that I can never repay it, but I will never go back. That's not how we're repaying it. But just finding like-minded friends, it taught me how to depend on God, and it grew my relationship with Jesus. And so you can never take a season like that back. When anything that brings you closer to God, you were meant to go through it. And so I was thankful, but I remember getting to this point in my relationship with God and my positioning in business on social media and just feeling like I was being fake. Like, I can post this picture of my weight loss journey, but it has to be in a certain outfit because I can't show flares. Or, you know, it has to be certain angles because I would hate to just like I was having body image issues, but in not the typical way of like I'm fat or skinny or in between, like, and I'm on a weight loss journey, but like I need to hide these scars. I need to shave so that way nobody asks why I'm hairy. And it just began to feel like I was sacrificing a lot of myself and hiding a huge part of who I was from the internet. And I just didn't feel like I was being real anymore. So I remember one day I posted a picture of my booty cheeks on Facebook. And I kid you not, you guys, it got 0 likes, 0 comments, 0 anything. And I left it up for like 20-ish minutes. And after that, I was like, this has been torture enough. Gonna just take this down, act like we never did that. And so I did. I took it down, and I remember going on like one of the retreat thingies with the hey girlies. And one of my friends was like, I saw that picture that you posted. Like, I wonder if this would help you. And I just remember being taken back. Like, oh my God, somebody saw that? Like, I thought it was a glitch in the system. Like, there was no likes, no comments. Like, you saw that? And at that moment, I was like, just having a conversation with her about it. And she was like, yeah, like, what is that? You know? And it didn't last very long. Like, we didn't dwell on him. This is what it is. And, you know, because at the time, I just still didn't know a lot about HS. But I remember feeling like, okay, like maybe there's a way that I can still share my story. If like she was genuinely interested, and, you know, making friends as a girl, as a woman is hard. So I was like, she wasn't a hater. She's so pretty, and she wasn't like disgusted by me. So I was like inspired kind of by my own like friendship to like, okay, I can take this to another level. And I remember feeling like maybe we're not going to take photos. Like, Maybe we should post on TikTok, because TikTok was kind of like taboo. People were thinking it was an app for kids, all of the things. It's like pre-pandemic. So I started doing like videos of me just like touching my skin, having HS in my lower abdomen. And my underarms were flaring really bad at the time. And so I just remember like just sharing how big some of those abscesses got and just like the scarring. And it was like very quickly I was seeing the traction on TikTok. And it wasn't like overnight virality, like millions of views or anything like that, but just like 1 comment, 2 comments, 3 comments, like 5 likes, 10 likes, 20 likes, like, and it was just so motivating to me to be like, oh my God. And then I remember searching hidradenitis suppurativa in the TikTok search engine, because you know TikTok's a search engine. Play with me, you can learn anything on TikTok. And I typed it in there and I saw these other people who were sharing their HS journey, and I was like, oh, like, okay. So I just, at that point, I just ran with it. And I think I made videos for a year and a half. And, you know, we were Sid, CYDDD _17. If you know her, you are an OG and I love you for life, okay? But that account got deleted at 38,000 followers. And I remember feeling like that was a crossroads for me. Like, do we share HS content? Do we share Skinny Coffee content? Like, what are we doing, girl? What are we doing? And I remember making a new account, Social Sid, a year and a half ago. She is not that old. And I was like, this is just going to be for HS. Like, we're just going to share HS things here. And I stuck to my guns on just creating HS content on that page. And now it has over 200,000 followers. And just sharing those crazy little TikToks of my perspective of living with HS has opened up so many doors for me. I mean, it's catapulted my advocacy. It helps me give people who are wanting to put in policy and change. I get to take what you guys put in the comment sections, what we actually need. It's kind of being like the voice of reason for the community, because you guys go so hard for me that I'm like, oh no, like we need to talk about this. We need to do this. And so because of TikTok, because of Facebook, because of all of these social media platforms, I have been able to just be an influencer in my own way. Like, I don't have to fit the typical mold of, you know, being aesthetic and having perfect skin and doing all these things. I mean, I'm a bougie girly, but I'm like, I'm just not perfect. I have imperfect skin, and my life's kind of imperfect. My story is just imperfect. And I think that's a lot of us, but when you finally give yourself the power to talk about those hard things and talk about the things that are uncomfortable, you give other people the power to do the same. And so I realized that God put this purpose in my life. And so that's kind of how it all began.
Yeah.
Feeling shameful about not sharing it. So then sharing it and realizing that like it was something I needed to do my whole life, but the timing was immaculate. So.
Well, and I think we've talked about this so much before, that the timing has played such a role in every piece of our journeys, because things have truly just lined up to present themselves exactly the way that they should have. And the same thing, you know, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, if I would be doing this full time, I would have told you no. I never thought I would see myself here. I was silent about my HS journey for 27 years and didn't talk about it, and now I can't stop talking about it. And it's really truly what happens, isn't it? Like, the more you start talking about it, then you're just like, I need to tell other people about this.
We're just looking at our husbands like, so we think we want to take this thing full time.
Right.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it has, all of these things have just presented themselves, and like, I mean, you could call it divine intervention, you can call it whatever you want to, but there is some bigger thing at play here, for sure. And, you know, the fact that you have been able to cross your influencer life into an advocate life is also something different than a lot of people can do. And there's more coming up on that this year too, in 2024. Lots more stuff on how do you be an advocate versus an influencer? How do you meld those two things together? It isn't right for everybody, but you have found your niche. And I have to tell you, like, it's going to make me upset. I am so proud of you. You have such a heart for wanting to help other people and doing it your way and not changing yourself to fit whatever you think the mold is that people need. You just are genuine in the way that you do things. And your desire to learn about HS and to understand it better and how to make that impactful for the community, and again, doing it in your way, is helping so many people. Even those who aren't commenting, even those who aren't liking, you're making a difference on all of their lives too. And the fact that you're able to meld those two things together is such a special thing, because I don't know that everybody can, but I think that in order for us to move HS forward, it has to start happening.
Yeah. It's truly, once I realized I was growing followers as fast as I was growing them, and the questions kept coming, I felt responsible to educate myself more in any way that I could. But I think when I met Brindley genuinely, like, I just was opened up to so much education about it, because she was like, no, like, we're trying to make sure like the Google definition is right and that everybody has the right definition and the right term, because certain things take us back, and like, just like certain stigmas, we have to break certain stigmas. And so I was just like, I'm still all the time just so hungry to normalize and educate, because the more we know, the more we grow. And I think it's empowering as a patient to know more about, like, you could look up anything about the C word, and be like, breast cancer, liver cancer, and there's all of these things and information, but like for HS, we just don't have that reliable source. And so when I found HS Connect, I was like, oh my gosh, like the articles and the blog posts and all of the website alone is amazing. Like, I was like, wow, girl, you really outdid you did all this is you right here. Like, because I was just floored by the amount of information on that website. And so it's even still so crazy, because there's no, like, I mean, there's new information coming out about HS and groundbreaking things happening behind the scenes that, like, we wish we could say all of the things, but we can't. But there's just so much information that we have to keep repeating, because we have to, like, we got to make sure y'all know it. And I'm like, we just take it from the website and we're like, all right, well, let's make a TikTok about this today, and we're just feeding you the information that's already there, that we already know. And as new information comes out that we're able to share, we 100% make sure that you guys are the ones who are on need to know. Like, and I think I truly saw the power of influence and advocacy when Cosentyx dropped, because I was like, the amount of people who needed to know that information and got the information through patient advocacy groups and people on social media, I was like, this is how you literally communicate these days, is through social media. So it's an honor to be, one of those strong funnels that can give you guys the information that you need, and continuing to just be like, you know what, we don't know it all. Mm-hmm. We know that it used to be categorized as autoimmune. Now we categorize as autoinflammatory. And we have to go with the change as the research comes out, because if we still categorize it as something that it's not, we are not going to get the correct treatment or the correct, things that we need. So I just realized the power that one person has in each duty. Like, I can help with social media, but like she said, I don't believe advocacy for me means being on Capitol Hill every chance that I get, like, I'm sweating, I don't know how to talk to these people.
Except next year you're going. This year
I'm going, but I'm so excited to give it my social media spin, like, I'm gonna wear the blazer, but I'm like, in here, I don't know it all. Like, I will never ever claim to you guys and be like, well, I'm the HS queen and I know everything. I absolutely do not. But anything I find out, like, you guys are my HS besties, I will come and tell you, and we will learn. We're all learning together. So it's just a privilege to be able to talk to you guys about everything. And it's just so inclusive, because it's inclusive to me too. Like, learning about treatments, I was so scared of medicine and had no trust in our government and was like, they're just trying to kill me. And now, because I'm connected to the right people and I'm getting the right resources and information on things, I'm like, okay, treatment might be the best option for me. We can't just keep acting like it don't exist. You know what I mean? So, we're all on our own journey together, and I'm excited to take you guys along on mine.
And the more informed you are as a patient, the more you're advocating even just for yourself, and there's so much power in that. So, my goal is for patients to go into the doctor and already have read the treatment journey article that we have on the website that tells you all of the options that are laid out before you and what may be the best option for you as you read through that. And for people to be able to go in and have an educated conversation with their dermatologist and be a part of the treatment decision, to be an advocate for yourself, to not just sit back and say, okay, whatever you think is best, to say, I don't want to be on long-term antibiotics, so what do we do? Yeah. How do we work this? What's my option? And to already have an idea in your head of what those options are. And when someone tells you, we see this all the time still, to lose weight and quit smoking, that it's okay to change that conversation to say, like, I appreciate that, but I know that isn't the cause of my HS. And to stop allowing ourselves to be shamed by people is also a huge way to advocate for yourself. The other piece of it is taking every single survey, every single, study that comes out, participating in clinical trials, which we'll talk more about that too this season. Those are all things that you would not think of as advocacy, and yet they are, because each one of those things raises your voice and lets your voice be heard. And those things go into research. Most of those studies or surveys that you take online end up becoming research papers. They need you to fill that out. They need you to take your 15 minutes to tell them what is important for drug companies when they're deciding what they want to attack next as to the most important thing that's going on with an HS patient. Is it pain? Is it the frequency of the flares? Is it the duration of the flares? They need that info. And
we need it too. Like when you guys see HS Connect personally post a survey or a study, like, I know we love Rare Patient Voice. I love Rare Patient Voice. They're a huge part of how I started advocating. But I can't tell you guys that they're going to hit you up and be like, come to Georgia so you can be a part of, like, I can't say that they're going to do that. But I can say that you're impacting the HS community in a greater way than you even realize when you're actually doing, like, a study that we have actually posted ourselves, like HS Connect helped conduct this study. It's because, like, it's tied to something bigger than you can see, and they need that data, they need that information to make sure that they're on the right track or giving us the things that we need in that moment. And so I know we want to get paid and compensated for our time, and one day everybody will get paid for study. I promise. Okay, like, that's a goal. But for right now, like, just take the extra 5 to 10 minutes to share your perspective or whatever it is we're asking from the study or the survey at the time, because you don't know how much it helps.
Yeah, you really don't. And we're working on, in one of the many things that we're trying to do is to, when those the research is published afterwards, is to share that back out with the people who have participated in the survey. And that becomes its own animal, because we don't even have, even though we as HS Connect have, like, shared that to get them the results that they needed and the number of people, we don't always even have access to that information. Yeah. So some of it isn't that we're not trying to share it. It's a matter of it's not open access for us to even view. And that's, as an advocacy group, that's something that's kind of frustrating, because it's like, we're providing you with these people and their opinions about this. Like,
give us the results.
Can we finish this circle? Like, let's round it all out and come back to people and report what was said in that. So that part I know can be super frustrating, but please do just know that all of that is so important. It's all part of how you advocate. Advocacy is not all of these big, grandiose things. It's not participating in Beautify HS projects all the time. Advocacy work is thankless a lot of the time. We get the brunt of a lot of frustration from people. And really, we're here to try to help everyone to have a better HS journey as much as we can. all of the resources on HS Connect are free. We're not charging people to access these resources that have been written and created specifically for the HS community.
Yeah.
You know, and all of that is very, very time consuming to do. And I want people to know that it's out there for them, because a lot of questions that you have are the same questions a lot of other people have had, and we've written articles specifically to answer those questions too. And
she knows that because she's a patient herself. I mean, you should talk about how you stepped into your advocacy spot.
Well, I stepped into it because I finally had surgery. I had gone, like I said before, for 27 years without talking about my HS. Finally tried a biologic. It didn't work for me. Went to another derm at the University of Washington. And she just said, you know, I think surgery can help you. And I was like, I'm not having surgery. I don't have time for this. I'm the breadwinner of my family. I have a kid, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, just go see the surgeon. So I went and saw him, and I fell in love. Dr. Kim, love you. And he was the first person who said to me that he thought he could help me. So at that point, I underwent wide excisions via second intent, so left open to heal from the inside out, of both of my underarms or axilla, and then I had a spot under my left breast that was on my abdomen that was huge and really, really painful at that point. And luckily, because my mom was able to be my caretaker while my husband went to work and all of that stuff, so he was comfortable with doing both at the same time. Sometimes surgeons aren't comfortable with that because you may not have someone to help take care of you during your recovery, which can be rough at the beginning. And then had that surgery done, and as I was recovering from that surgery, I joined some Facebook support groups, saw the benefit and the drawbacks in some of them immediately. Some of them are like the Wild West, where no information is vetted and people are being told to take massive amounts and copious amounts of L-lysine and eat orange peels. Please do not do any of these things. And all kinds of random fads and things that come through with HS. Put duct tape on your flares. Again, please don't. Please don't put food on your flares. Please just don't. And so I met Denise, who was my co-founder, through that whole process. She was writing articles for HS, and I was editing medical reports at that time. So I was like, I'll edit your articles for you, because she kept checking in on me, and we developed a friendship. And at that point, I built the website because we were like, well, great, we have all these articles. Now what do we do with them? So we were like, we need a website for these to live on. So we built a website, and here we are, like 5 years later now, and it's absolutely insane how much it's grown with the time that has passed, and how much our advocacy has been able to grow. And I never, ever, ever thought I would be here, ever. We had planned at the beginning that hopefully one day I would be able to leave my job and do this full time, but that was like a 10-year plan. And so all of my plans have kind of backed up much sooner, but it's been the most amazing journey. And like I said, the more I talk about it, the more I can't stop talking about it. And I never would have been here if all of those things had not lined up just the way that they did.
See, you guys, it's not... She's doing huge monumental things now. Don't let her humbleness fool you. But it didn't start that way. It didn't start with huge vision of wanting to change the world. It started with her joining a Facebook group and healing through her own recovery. And so that's what we mean when we say, you guys want this extreme, this email that will just change your whole dang life. I'm telling you, they come later, after you have put in the well-deserved work to deserve it. And I hate to sound like that, but you have to put in that time, before you see any reward, before you and especially this kind of work, because if you get into HS content creation for the money, I hope you're weeded out. Because there's just no way that
it's
that
years
can't
and
be
years,
your purpose.
You guys, sometimes of trudging through it before anything is recognized or realized. So if you're in it for trying to
keep your 9 to 5, keep it, because it takes time before you see the huge payoffs. But I'm telling you, I'm sure Brinley 5 years ago is thankful that she kept on keeping on, because I mean, the things that are in the works this year, you guys, is like, I don't even know how it's real life, but it is real life.
Me neither.
And she's just like thinking bigger, and we just keep thinking bigger, and we're collabing with people who are thinking bigger, and it's just like, wow, we're really gonna normalize HS, and it's just such a powerful time. So join by all means, but please know that you have to put some work in before you see, that favorable return.
And
but
not
at the end of the day,
will.
for us, seeing somebody comment like, your videos helped me get diagnosed today, or this helped me explain to my boyfriend what I am going through, or I'm able to show this to my mom and now she knows what products to get me, or I know what to buy my daughter now because we just didn't know what to use, I have goosebumps. There's no dollar amount, there's no check anybody could write me that makes me feel like those comments make me feel.
Yeah.
And so that's why you have to want to do advocacy work, is because of the one. Not the one check, not the one opportunity, not the one picture, not the one video, but the one person that you changed the way they see themselves or the way they look at their journey today. That's why I do what I do. And when you have purpose and genuine love for something like that, God will bless it. I promise you, eventually.
Yeah, and it may not come through as monetary, it may just come through. And that is a lot of what I get out of that makes me tick too, is the being able to help people, and not the fact that I'm able to now actually like do this for my living, because I worked so hard all those years of trying to get to where we are now, and that it's been realized. But so much of that is like just the impact on people who come and say that you've made a change in their life, and now they walk differently with their head held higher, and they approach life differently because of the work that we've done. And that's worth more than anything.
Yeah.
And wanting to really benefit our own HS community and have them see and reap those rewards is worth anything. It's so important. And advocates see the world differently than an influencer does, in the way that patients typically see through their own lens, right? You have your one experience that you have lived, that you talk about, and that is your experience that you bring to the table. And an advocate's lens is seeing that experience through many lenses, through many people, through many experiences, and taking that gathered experience and taking that to the higher level to talk about that on the next level. What are the needs of the many as opposed to the needs of the one?
Right.
And I think that's also a difficult switch for people to make sometimes, because your journey is your journey, but all of us have different journeys, and appreciating and acknowledging that is also really important, in the same way that it is to talk about what works for one doesn't work for all.
Right.
And that can be a difficult part of it too, because a lot of times you want to share and shout from the rooftops what's worked for you. But we do have to be conscientious of that as a community, because we really can put people in a bad position with that when you're talking about, what may be a trigger.
Or what cured you, or,
What may be a trigger for one is not a trigger for all. Yeah. So if life would be so much easier if this was a one-size-fits-all disease. Okay, can we just say that right now? If it was a one-size-fits-all, we would be done. We'd have it figured out. But there are different phenotypes of HS, meaning there's different types of HS. I have a different type of HS than my daughter has. People who have head and neck HS, things work better, different products work better for them, different medications work better for them than they do for people who have HS in other places. So it's really important to make sure that as much as you want to advocate for your journey and how this specific thing has changed you, to make sure that you're keeping that really close to that's what's worked for you, not encouraging other people necessarily. I don't want to say not encouraging them, because that sounds really naysayer.
It's just taking it's just treading lightly. I think there's a lot of things that probably deserve a disclaimer in the HS community. I mean, like, people talk about putting a trigger warning over my videos for my butt cheeks. I'm like, bro, can you trigger warning me when you're making all your food from the earth, like actual scratch? Like, raw vegans scare me low-key, because I'm like, the fact that you're so normalized to that fat, all this food is cold. Like, and my auntie used to be a raw vegan, so I feel qualified to say that. And I'm like,
Love
auntie,
you.
I'm so not eating that. I'm so sorry. Put a trigger warning next time. Like, I won't come over for a barbecue. But like, but just taking that, like, some people don't want those like the absolutes are not possible in HS. Food may heal you, may help you, it may not. You know, like, changing your diet may help, may hurt. Switching your clothes may help, may hurt. Going to the gym may help, may hurt. You know, like, and that's almost anything with HS. Humira may help, may hurt. You know, a biologic may help, may hurt. We just don't know. But we appreciate the people who say, listen, I tried this and this actually worked well for me. Feel free to give it a try. You know, like, leave people that space to have an option instead of just like, well, castor oil in my belly button every night worked for me, so it should work for you. Because it kind of sounds, it's like something I don't want to do. So,
yeah, it's one of the harder things I think about HS, because when you found remission, that you want to shout from the rooftops what worked for you and then tell everybody to do the same thing. But I think we also have to be very conscientious that our group of people is, and I see this all the time in comments, we are sheep in that we want to flock to anything that people say works. We are so desperate.
I was like, ooh, let me get L-lysine. I need some sea moss. I got my chlorophyll water. And then I looked up and I was like, I'd rather not eat or drink anything all day. Like, and that's not a healthy place to be in just because you feel like you have to do what everybody else is doing. So just walk to the beat of your own drum. If you find that, you know, something improved your HS a little bit, that's okay. Mm-hmm. But don't share them with, you know, absolutes and indefinites for other people, because it just could be really dangerous. Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of those pieces of an advocate journey that, and it takes a really long time to kind of learn and understand that from a different perspective. Yeah. But it's such an important piece of it. And really trying to uplift the community and encourage other people as an advocate to talk about their own journeys. Inspiring and inviting people to come on and talk about theirs. You know, we do Warrior Wednesday, and we are opening that up to everybody. We're going to put a Google form out that's going to have all of the information about how you become a spotlighted person on our Warrior Wednesday on HS Connect. And if you want to share your story, all you have to do is send us a little video. Yeah. Of you recording yourself. That's it. And then we'll put that up so that you can share your story with others. And sometimes that's the catalyst to being where we are and doing what we're doing with a podcast. This was a pipe dream. I was like, hear me out, y'all. Hydrogenitis super divas at the kitchen table. Literally not even a year ago. And here we are in season 3. Yeah. Like, don't be afraid to have God-sized dreams. Just don't be afraid to put the action in. Also, that's going to get you there. And being a student to this content creation game that's all of us. The internet's going to keep changing forever. So it's never too late. We'll never find the algorithms. The algorithm is algorithming. Yes. But yes, anybody can be an influencer, but it takes people who are willing to walk that extra mile for others to be an advocate. And I think that's just genuinely the key. You have to have your heart in it. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's what you would want, somebody who's standing up for other people. So if that is you, we do welcome you to, you know, start creating content or start talking about your journey. My Instagram DMs are open. My Messenger is closed. So if you know, have any questions or anything like that, I'm very better at... I almost lied on TV. I would have corrected you. I'm really good at answering my DMs. I'm actually not. But I'm better on Instagram than I am on Facebook, because Facebook just like makes them hide from you. So if you have any questions, or, you know, you want specific video or feedback on how to, you know, continue, or what are the next steps after this podcast, we would love to talk to you guys about it and open the conversation. But thank you for tuning into this episode of the Hydradenitis Super Divas podcast. We hope it was beneficial and it resonated with you in any way that it needed to. And we can't wait to see you on the next one.
Bye.